Hello! Hello and welcome to my stream. Today we're going to be doing some programming, as it just so happens. So, what did we do last time? Last time we took some arrows floating and then we made it into arrows floating. That's... If you just look at the two, like a still, like a screenshot, like one might find on a YouTube video, for example, you might think that there was precisely no progress since last stream, but actually there was a lot of progress. We progressed from a state where it didn't seem like this animation was ever going to be fit for purpose. But now we discovered that in fact, and do I leave this here? I'll leave that here for now. If you add spawning mechanics and culling mechanics to the background animation, so this is the culling mechanic right here, although perhaps I should rename it. Is inside rectangle. I'd have to like negate this or something. I don't know. It's okay for now. It's kind of a lie, but it started as literally, is this arrow on screen? Is the center of the arrow on screen? And if it's not on screen, it should be deleted. But then we evolved and we said, well, because of the way we're spawning the arrows, if we come and look over here. Okay, here's the classic add random arrow thing. But then we got fancy with it and we said, when I want to spawn things off screen, which is any time except for the first time we spawn arrows. When I spawn arrows off screen, I want to do it like this, where I had to do this crazy thing. I spawn it in either the bottom quadrant or the right quadrant. Does it make sense to call them quadrants? Yeah, kinda. Yeah, sure. There's 4 of them. There might be 8 if you count like the, you know, if you really thought about it, but like, okay, the right and the bottom. And you need to use 3 random variables to do something like that, but it works. So yeah, you spawn them off screen at the bottom right, and then the change that we made to this is you only want to delete them when they've reached the top left. Because if you don't do that, I mean, you could try to think of another way to do it. I tried to do it with like a minimum lifetime, which I should deprecate. But that was really finicky. Because it's all random, right? So like, how do you know exactly when the arrows are going to get on screen? You can find a value that like you can't perceive any problems with it, really. There's no like perceptible difference. But you know, if you like increase the density of the arrows, you can kind of detect weirdness, and it's like, why even bother with that when this small change was actually the right answer? Which one of our viewers, that was their first idea, and it wasn't my first idea, so all credit goes to them, I suppose. And I don't think in this code I was using that thing I just deprecated, so great, problem solved. So that was the main addition that we got from last time. Oh wait, so that plus something I implied, which is all these arrows are moving in the same direction now. So if I try to load up, the thing, there it is. Yeah, if I try to load up the thing, okay. Yeah, we'll see that all the arrows are basically going in the same direction. Oh man, it looks really good. I'm so happy with it. I'm really pleased with it. We do have a problem of like the when the color changes all on all the arrows all at the same time, it kind of looks like the screen is flashing, and that's a bit much. It's like kind of overwhelming, but that's not a big deal. I have a fix for that. It's you can just change the settings and it solves it. But another thing that I did was I made the size. Already the size was correlated with the opacity, but I also made the size correlated with the velocity. So now we also get this cool parallaxing effect because the things in the background are moving slower than the things in the foreground. So now really the only, not really the only, because I thought of another problem I wanted to solve, which might make this stream last the full 3 hours or 2.5. Another problem I thought of, well no, we'll get to that. The main problem that I'm going to try to solve today is the fact that arrows often overlap each other. And I kind of don't care when a big arrow and like a small background arrow overlap. That's actually totally fine in my mind, because that's I mean, especially with the background arrows being so slow moving, you really can't really have it any other way. They're just gonna overlap, you'd think. But these guys, they're all like clustered together, and it's like, ew, it looks bad. It looks kind of gross. So I'm going to try to implement a not too intensive, not too computationally intensive, not too taxing physics system to gently spread these arrows apart from one another. Yeah. I could certainly be a problem. I could certainly be a problem. So there's like a twofold issue going on in my mind. One of them is that these things might be being spawned on top of each other. And so if that's the case, you need like a more forceful push to separate them. Yeah. And then there's also the slightly less probable thing, but sort of inevitable thing, which is going to be that since these arrows can have slightly random velocities and directions, they might drift into each other. So that's something you want to look out for as well. Yeah, so let's think about how we're going to implement that. And I think like last time, I'm going to do a bad implementation, and then I'm going to try a better implementation and see where that gets us. This is a little bit new for me. I've never implemented this specific kind of thing before. I have implemented like, you know, I've literally written this piece of code probably at least 3 times before. This particular the more optimized versions of doing physics stuff, not so much, not so much. So how do we want to do this? This probably happens in update. Hmm. So I'm gonna do export let arrows. Hmm. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, I'm calling arrow.update here. So here's how I'm going to decide to implement this. I'm actually not going to give arrows the update function. Anymore. Base arrow.update. That's fine. I'll just copy and paste it. So base arrow updating, it doesn't have a velocity or a rotation. So I kind of don't even need to call update. I might have needed to call it in certain cases if update started doing other stuff, but now it's like, why bother? Why bother? Why bother? Okay. So the main reason I wanted to bring over the update logic into here, into index, is so I can visually see the fact that I'm going to have a double or maybe a triple for loop at some point. Gonna run this again because I'm paranoid that maybe I've broken something. Yeah? Yeah, it certainly seems that way. Uh-oh. Line 158. I'm sorry? You want to try the arrow line 158. Okay. Cannot read properties of undefined reading X. Has to be a path, I guess. That's wild. I feel like this has to be a like a first time drawing error, maybe. Hold on, let me think here. This should be doing all the updating we need for the arrows. And then only afterwards we draw? Yeah. So I guess I'm calling base arrow dot draw? Oh, wait a second. Okay, wait. This could be a base arrow thing. So we used to call the base arrow update here. Maybe I don't need to update the base arrow every frame. Yeah. Or couldn't I... Couldn't I just in here set the center X equal to initial center X? Realistically. I mean, why wouldn't I? I think that's what needed to happen. I think this is a first draw error on the base arrow. Yeah, that was it. We can get rid of that console.log on the deleted arrow thing as well. Okay, cool. Yeah, so that was what I just wrote was the part of the update that base arrow actually needed. Basically just centering the center X and rotation, even though it doesn't have any velocity when it's doing that. And so if we just set it in there the first time when it's constructed, we don't need to update it ever. Which is great. That's a simplification. I love it. So let's think about physics, shall we? But wait a second. This isn't quite right, is it? It needs to be more than just size over 2. Yeah, it needs to be more than just size over 2. Okay, I guess it's okay. I still think this doesn't take into account the waveform. I still think this doesn't take the waveform into account, and that's kind of bugging me. That's fine. So, okay, we're thinking about physics here. So I want to compare my arrow's rotation, or not rotation, position, center, with that of all the other ones. And for that, we might do the distance function, right? So let's think about that. We could do distance between me and the other arrow. X, Y, X, Y. Okay. So we're going to call the distance function 250 times 250 times, which is 62,500. Great. Perfect. And okay, so let's first detect like if they're overlapping. So if they're overlapping, then the distance between them must be less than the sum of their radii. which could be different. Yeah, that's right. So in this if statement, we have detected the collision, so to speak. It might not necessarily be overlapping because of the fact that, like, we're assigning a radius to a thing that isn't really a circle. It is instead just like it's just an approximation. But that's fine. So what should we do if that happens? It's like kind of the whole point of this is first we need to figure out the right way of an efficient way of detecting this collision, and it's a second problem figuring out the right thing to do once that has happened. But let's think about that. Let's think about, like, okay, we know this is an inefficient way to do it, but let's say it wasn't. What do we want to do about that? Let's try to, like, force them apart, right? Okay. So for things like magnets repelling each other, it's the, what is it? Inverse square? Inverse square law. So a small distance apart should correlate to a large force. That's basically what it means. Okay. Yeah. So I need their x distance, which is going to be absolute value. Well, maybe, yeah, maybe I don't need to. I don't know. Center x. If I'm squaring it, I don't need to worry about the sign. I do always wonder if power of 2 is more is less efficient than multiplying it by itself. There is an edge case here. Of if they're exactly over each other. But let's assume that will never happen. And then I take u and I'm going to add it to the velocity. Wait, does that make sense? I want this to make them go apart, right? want to make sure that this sort of takes sine into account, actually. So all this does is it assumes that it's going in the positive direction. We're going to get a positive number from this, always. But I actually want this to be a signed thing. I want this to be a signed affair. So I could make it a signed affair by using a power of 3. Or just not using a power at all, right? This could actually be the wrong direction. I need to think about it for a second. Oops. Okay, so this assumes, okay, so if center X, my center X, is greater than center 2 X, then that means I'm currently to the right of arrow 2. And that means I would want to repel to the right as well. So I don't need to reverse the sign. I want it to be, this would be positive, yeah. And for this one, if my center Y is greater than arrow 2's center Y, then I am below it, and I would want to be pushed, repelled down. Yeah, okay, that's right, that's right. And so when we come back through and we're these two arrows situations are reversed, because, you know, we do this repel thing for every arrow. It will apply the reverse situation as well. I'm pretty sure this isn't going to help me, though. I'm pretty sure this is going to be too small of a force. Yeah, the 1 over thing kind of is not great. Even if it's happening every frame? Let's try like 10 over, right? Because this is very small. Yeah, and when arrows aren't close to each other, they're not going to get repelled at all. So let's see if that does anything for us. One thing that might happen is this will just run too slowly right off the bat. Like, this just won't run. This will run at like 1 frame per second, or not even at all. I have a feeling it should still run. Like, I know we're calling distance 60,000 times, but you can do 60,000 calculations per frame, I think. I think you can. Maybe not. Maybe, yeah, maybe not. Oh, yeah, you can. Totally you can. Oh my god, look at these arrows. They're wiggling like crazy. Look at this shit. Ah, it's terrible. It's so terrible. Oh my god. What is this crap? It's not even working. Look, these two are right next to each other. Oh. Oh, it's not working at all. Okay. That's hilarious. Um, why? Why on earth is that the case? Well, I have to assume it's because this can get really big, right? So what if instead of trying to do physics, we do like a map linear? I'm laughing at myself because it's always map linear. It's always map linear, dude. Uh, and when it's 0, you should have a lot of repel, but not that much. Yeah, let's try something like 10 to 1. A linear mapping from 10 to 1. Oh, they're wiggly. God, oh jeez. They're actually attracting each other rather than repelling. Ah, look at it. Oh, that's a disaster. Oh my gosh. Why is it doing that? Oh my gosh, why is it doing that? Oh, okay. Well, like one problem, right? One problem is this can be a negative. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this kind of doesn't work. Because I mean, I can't actually map this to a linear thing. It's like bilinear. Okay. What if I did this? No, that's the opposite of what you want. Okay, and then we're gonna do zero distance is big number. Big distance is small number. I hope my map linear function is right for this particular scenario where we're like reversing it. Okay, and then we do sine of dist x but what if it's 0? Okay, maybe that's what I want. Maybe that's what I want. So this, I think this returns 1, -1, or 0. I'm pretty sure that's what it returns. So if this distance is negative, I want it to be -1 times this velocity that we get out of the map linear. Ah, everything's freaking out. We don't have like a tiny, really bad frame rate though. That's a plus. What if we did this? Right, cut it in, let's make it 100th, okay? Reduce the power by 100. Surely that will help us. Surely that will save us. Oh, they're wiggling. Yeah, look at them. They wiggle back and forth. Why? Why do they wiggle back and forth like that? Oh my goodness. Okay. So I must have something like deeply wrong with what I'm doing here. Oh? Oh. Wait, no. Never mind. Okay. I thought this was... This is right. Arrow 1, center X, arrow 2, center X. Arrow 1, center Y, arrow 2, center Y. I was confused because of how I wrote this. Okay, let's see some log statements. Okay. Arrow 0 has this center position. And arrow 19 has this center position. Oh, I'm not like summing together the various repels that are happening. Okay, that's one error. Because they could be being repelled by multiple. And this has a repel force of positive X, positive Y. Positive X, positive Y. Positive X, negative Y. Yeah, and I do believe that these are close together. Okay. It doesn't look like that stupid, I guess. Right? It could have been a lot stupider. Maybe I need to sum together all these repels. Right? Doesn't seem great. They're all wiggling around like crazy. Jeez. Oh my goodness. Maybe I need to reduce the force even more? You'd think that because this is getting multiplied, delta times seconds has to also be very small. So I don't understand how this is having such a big impact, honestly. Okay, how about now? Hello? Okay, thank you. Jeez. I mean, it's like they're not even trying to separate. That's very strange. Let me look at this. At least they're not freaking out, doing like a wiggle session, but... all these repel forces seem pretty reasonable. But I do notice, it does seem like literally every arrow, at least at the start, has some repel force affecting it at all times. Which maybe isn't great. I must continue banging my head against this problem. Because oddly enough, doing this check across all arrows does not cause a stupid amount of lag. I know I want to optimize it at some point in the future, but for now it doesn't seem that bad. Oh, okay. One thing I should check here real quick. Is the repel X, repel Y in the right direction? That's something I should verify. Okay, this is in the positive direction. So for arrow 0, it is 200.9. And it's so that's to the right of this guy. In the X, at least. So this is saying I should continue to move to the right. That seems totally correct. And so this is a lower Y than this, so I should move down. Yeah. Yeah. And I have to presume at some point if 65 were down here. Yeah, okay. Here's 9, 10, and 10, 9. Okay. So 9 collides with 10 here. And it moves in the negative X direction. 10 collides with 9 here. And it moves in the positive X direction. So they're literally trying to move away from each other. In theory. In theory. Oh, hold on a second. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Delta times seconds is not what you might think. Yeah, okay. I misunderstood. I thought this was the time since the last frame. So the way I'm actually drawing these arrows or updating their positions is not compatible. Okay. Yeah, okay. So like before yeah, before I was treating it very much like an animation where has a set start time, set end time, moves along a linear path, that's it. Now that I'm trying to add physics to it, um I actually want to be like incrementally changing the center X. I could try changing initial center X, but I need it to be permanent. Okay, so I think almost all of our problems are actually rooted in the fact that delta times seconds is a huge number, and it just gets bigger. If I did something like this, it's not exactly what I want, but it would probably look a little bit more sensible. Probably look a little bit more sensible. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay. Uh, let's try that again. um, huh. Huh. I don't know. I don't know about that. Okay, what if as just a proof of concept I changed the initial center X? Because at least that's a change that will persist between draw frames. There we go. Thank goodness, dude. That's finally what I wanted to see. The arrows actually moving away from each other. There we go. There we go. Okay. So that proves that I don't have some other weird bug in my program, at least. Yeah. And it looked that dude. I, I watched a video the other day talking about this exact kind of thing, and they were like, "Dude, don't ever do it the naive way. Oh my God, that's like, yeah, a million operations. Oh." But like, my, I did it. I when I was watching that video, I definitely remember raising an eyebrow where it's like, apparently it took the guy like an hour to render. I mean, there's his problem, I guess, is that he's doing some sort of weird rendering thing where he's trying to save every frame as a PNG, and that must take a while, I guess, and you got to plug it into your video software. That's where he's getting the slowdown. That's what's taking the time. Like, well, no, that can't be the case either, because he said it like reduced the render time a lot. Yeah, I don't know. Something's weird there, because like this runs at 144 FPS, and I'm doing 60,000 updates, because it's a double for loop, and I'm checking the distance for every pair of arrows. Admittedly, that's not great, but the point is like, what is this 60,000? How does this 60,000 operations compare to the other parts of the program? You know, like, yeah, this is inefficient, but you don't want to optimize the part of the program that is like the minority of the time spent. That's just, you're kind of wasting your time. I don't know. It's really cold in my room, so real quick, I'm gonna turn on the heater. I don't know why. I just didn't think I would need it today. But yeah, I'm gonna turn on the heat, so be right back. Ooh, the BRB screen has music now, so let's see if that works. Okay, sorry about that. I went. I. It's not the turning on the heat that like took a long time. It's not like the furnace exploded or something crazy. Um, I just started texting my brother because I do that every Monday, so I might be taking some more BRBs at some point. Uh, okay, so yeah, we had success, and I was complaining about that one video, seeming to spread some ignorance, but or maybe it's not technically ignorance because it was correct in his context, but take it with a grain of salt. One of those kinds of things. Yeah, and I really don't like the reason why it ticked me off so much is because he came to this conclusion. He's like, wow, if you have a minute long animation and you're doing this method, and it's running at 60 FPS, that adds up to like 3 million calculations. Wow. And I'm thinking to myself, like, dude, you don't know how fast computers are if you think a few million calculations is this like Herculean feat. You just don't know how fast computers are. And that makes me sad. That makes me really sad. When people have been trained by the software they interact with to think that computers are slow. I don't like that. That makes me very sad. But to be clear, he has every reason to think that his computers are slow or his particular application is slow because it literally did run slow. So he's not technically wrong. It's just like it's in the category of that complaint for me. What next? So I need to do plus equals here. Rotation can stay like this. Rotation can stay, well, can it? I think so. I might later like add some weird thing that messes with the rotation, but like yeah, I kind of have to go whole hog and change everything. Okay. Is this guy used anywhere in here? No. No, it is not. Good. Okay. So we do at least know this is the only place where this difference matters. Yeah, so now delta time is equal to this, and I mean that literally may have just fixed everything, right? Okay, let me... No effect on repel, and let's run it again. In theory, this should just do the same thing it's always done before, no repel logic at all. I'm worried that it's actually gonna run... It's gonna move really slowly. I don't think it should run slow. Okay. Everything explodes? Everything explodes? Oh, I'm not updating this. I need to update this value. So what happens is it just like keeps going faster and faster and very quickly flies off screen. Okay. Let's try that again. That's not the button you click. Okay, everything does fly off screen. That's not great. Hold on a second. Cool. Just some spam messages. Love it. Huh, interesting. I need to get a moderator. uh... Why do I think that this should just work? I really do think that this should just work, though. Because the delta time should now be a really tiny number. And even though we're adding it every frame... Oh, okay, hold on. We're adding initial center X every frame. That's not what you do. That's not a thing that you should do. Okay. Now you understand. That I was adding, wow. Yeah, no, that'll make it fly off screen, that's for sure. There we go. I'm happy now. Arrows are now peacefully floating through the sea. Okay. Very good. Now, I could do what I initially wanted to do, which is stick this in here. And likely I don't need this anymore. Although perhaps I do. That's fantastic. I think I actually need to make it a little weaker. Actually, maybe quite a bit weaker. I want it to be like a lazy drifting apart, you know? And probably probably you don't want this to be happening in the initial creation of the screen as well, which might mean I want to refine the logic that I use. Okay, they're more lazily drifting apart from each other. Maybe too lazily, maybe not. That's pretty good. Maybe we want something in between, right? So let's try 0.5. Okay. But that's pretty good. Before I try 0.5, actually what I'm going to do is totally alter this logic and do some more thinking. We're gonna do. We want to take size into consideration now. So I don't want arrows pushing each other around if their sizes are like really different. So let's try to think that through. If the difference between the arrow sizes is greater than, I forget the range of possible sizes. 20 to 80 is the range. So let's say if it's greater than 20, then don't care. Now let's see how this goes. These two kind of look like they shouldn't be on top of each other. It seems like things are kind of like forming in lines, which is weird. I wouldn't think that should happen. That seems odd. Let's reduce this down a bit. Okay. So the initial thing is obviously a problem. But if I just stare at this for a little while. Why do they keep forming like conga lines, dude? Look at this conga line that's happening here. I don't understand. That's really weird. Why would that be happening? Huh. This is actually really important. Maybe it's actually a size related issue. Um, Maybe I need to multiply this by some size factor. Because it could be that, like, since this is like a binary filter, you could still have, you could still actually end up with smaller arrows affecting larger arrows if there's like a chain effect. Okay, so like a size 10 arrow affects a size 30 arrow, like pushes it around. Then a size 30 arrow pushes around a size 50 arrow. You know, it just keeps going and going. That actually could happen pretty easily. So what if we say that the difference in size matters? Multiply by another factor here. Okay, size difference. Let's make a variable for the 20 as well. Okay, size difference could be between 0 and max size difference. And I want to convert that into a factor. If the size difference is 0, you get 1. If as the size difference approaches the maximum size difference, there should be 0 repel. And I'm doing that in a completely linear way. Okay. Let's see what happens in that situation. Does that fix the conga line issue? Okay, let's wait and see for the conga line problem to develop. It might already be starting. It seems less pronounced so far. Ooh, look at the traffic jam happening down there. Yeah, this totally looks like there's a line forming, though. Like, why? Stop it. Quit it. Huh. Is that, like, strictly a result of... Like, I don't think the size difference thing was a bad addition. And maybe I increased this a bit. But... Maybe I try to make this non-linear. Yeah, maybe we go back to our original attempt here, where we square the distance x and do 1 over that. This is, yeah, it's weird. There's like an aesthetic quality to the physics. I want it to be realistic, I guess, is kind of what I'm thinking, but there's this... I want it to like have a fluidity effect. Like they're being moved along in a current and they kind of bump into each other and push off each other. Okay, let's see if that does anything. This seems markedly worse right off the bat, because things like are jumping around. Also, they seem to be bunching together. That can't be right. One divided by the distance squared. 1 divided by the distance squared. So a large distance should produce a small number. I could look at the log real quick. Very, very small numbers. Let me think for a second. Okay, let me do some Googling. I'm looking at a graph of 1 over x squared. It seems kind of reasonable when I look at it. But it does go up into like infinity. What if it was 1 over x rather than 1 over x squared? So if it was that, then I wouldn't need the sine thing. Let's see what that looks like. Let's see if it stops things from freaking out so much. I see things freaking out still. And I also see things clumping together, seemingly. You should be pushing off of each other, not, like, perfectly aligning your centers. Why, why does this cause them to just perfectly, like, cluster together? They really like doing that for some reason. I don't understand. Is that the source of my problems? I think perhaps my force is just really, really small. Things do still seem to be jumping around every once in a while. Yeah, like what is causing that? Okay, let's try making the force bigger. No. And if I'm not mistaken, they are clustering together. Okay, I must be delusional here. Like it is pulling them together. Is it a sign issue? It must be a sign issue, right? Surely it's as simple as that. I don't understand. I don't understand. Oh, well, that's not great. Okay, I see. Well, the log does tell me something at least. Okay, what happens in this scenario? The y values are really, really, really close to each other. So we get that. but the x values are, I guess, not that close. Okay, and let me... Is the sign correct at least? This one is above this one. So actually the sign is totally wrong. They should be pushing it up. Yeah, I thought that that was right. Like, I don't get it. Okay, I need a better testing environment, I think. Let me... Oh man, this is frustrating. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put an arrow in the center of the screen, and then I'm gonna change everything so that I can push it around with my mouse with the same physics logic as with the same physics logic as I'm trying to generate here. Okay. Let's try. I don't know, what's a moderate size? 50? Okay. This is initial rotation. This is opacity, I think. Initial, so center X, center Y, size, initial rotation. Opacity, yes. Velocity X and velocity Y want to be 0. Angular velocity, let's have that be 0 as well. Okay. And then let's make another arrow on screen as 0, 0. And let's make that arrow the one that I have control over. Okay. Does this have updating mouse X and Y? It does. Let's take you. I could do it. I could do it a number of ways. Let's do it in here though. Okay, does this do what I think it will do? No, it super won't. No, it super won't, and I'm not totally sure why. I don't... Oh, okay. Yeah, I want to turn that off. And I also want to hard code some things so I can stop changing them every time. Path options, amplitude multiplier 0, cube multiplier 0, min line width 2. Okay, that'll make it so I don't have to keep changing that every time. Okay. Now I'd like to know why I don't get a mouse on screen. Or an arrow. Why am I not controlling an arrow right now? Oh, I didn't push the mouse arrow. That's why. Oddly, I still don't have a mouse arrow. Why though? Like, why though? This is not off screen, so it shouldn't be getting culled. I don't think. Can I just turn off the culling? That might be wise. Yeah, let's turn that off. I swear this should be working. There we go. Okay. Well, my physics really must suck a lot, because this is totally wrong. And it actually does pull it closer, which is very bizarre. Why though? Why? Like, why though? Can I do something cute and like draw an arrow here? Or not this kind of arrow, but like a line indicating the forces, the velocity, the repel velocity. I'm gonna do that. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, look at that. How weird is that crap, dude? What the heck? Okay, so I must have some wires crossed here or something, right? Huh. Yeah, I think I need to do some I kind of see what's going on here. I need to do like some vector stuff. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I kind of remember doing something like this before. Uh yeah. That was when I was doing like normal vector stuff. Yeah. Um I've already got the distance. So if I say like this, um I need I need I need to make a vector that has this magnitude, and I have a dx and a dy. I've been in this situation before. How did I handle this? I divided by the distance. Huh? So amplitude times that. What? Huh? That doesn't seem quite right. Yeah? Do we just like put it in there and see if it works? That can't be right. It might be right, but it doesn't seem right. Console, are you okay? Let's try that again. It does seem to have some very slight effect right now. Okay, I need to make it stronger. Let's make it 15 times stronger. Not strong enough yet. Let's make it 150 times stronger. Hey, that seems pretty good. It is very, very gentle though, currently. Maybe I make it a little bit less gentle. Is it going to keep drifting apart like that forever? Okay. That actually seems pretty good. Okay, maybe I try this for real now. Um, so I'm capping the magnitude there. And maybe I cap it even more. This might work. Okay, okay. Let's go back to normal. Let's go back to normal. Continue spawning off-screen arrows like before. Re-enable culling. Okay. Did I make a change here? Not really. Okay. Oh, that was frustrating, but maybe we're gonna get some results here now. Oh dear. I am drawing lines on everything. Oh. Not great. Kind of okay though, I guess. I can still observe what's happening, so it's okay. This looks good. I'm not seeing the conga line problem. It does feel like everyone generally wants to stay away from each other. But like here, they do still end up overlapping a bit too much. This seems really good though, actually. Is there... I think I forgot to uncomment something. How did I get like 300 there for a second? Huh? What? Maybe that's just a quirk of like picking a new song. That must be it. Yeah, and the arrows don't all like freak out when they first spawn too, which seems great. I kind of wish the force was just like a little bit stronger or a little bit wider radius. Yeah, maybe a little bit wider radius. Can I make that happen? Alright. Doubling the force strength and increasing the radius. Let's see what happens. Can I get it without the force arrows, please? Okay, let's just stare at this for a little while. See how it makes us feel. The arrows do seem generally spread out. I forgot. I don't think I take into account. Yeah, I don't take into account their size. I should put that back in actually. But so far, this is pretty great. Yeah, okay. I think I'm losing some of the parallax effect actually because of that. So let me see if I can put that back in. Let's see. Okay, size difference, size difference. Oh, well, no, it was kind of in there already. It was kind of in there a little bit. Where like there would be no effect if their size difference was over the max size difference. So that's kind of good. Size difference could be 0, or it could be max size difference, and I want to turn that into 1 to 0 multiplier. I hope that doesn't actually cause the conga line somehow. That I just don't understand. I don't think that causes it, but we'll see. Okay, there's the initial Everything spreads out, which I kind of don't like that that's perceptible, but I can live with it for now. And I really want to see the parallax stronger. Yeah, I see these two guys overlapping, but they're on different heights, so it should be like a really minor effect. Okay. I'm happy with this. I'm happy with this so far. Now let's make it so I'm unhappy. Ooh, that drops the frame rate pretty darn quick, doesn't it? Yeah. But they're not like jittering around, which is pretty surprising, considering how tightly packed they are. Look at that, it's so fluid. It's positively gooey. I like that a lot. That's so good. That's so good. And it kind of looks like their rotations affect each other, but they definitely don't. One thing I'd like to check is how many actual collisions I am handling. Um, so I think the next step is going to be like adding an optimization to the collision detection. I'm thinking, what do I expect to change with the improved collision detection? I suspect that it's a fewer calls to this. This might just make it run faster, but it's hard to say. Huh. You know, that actually feels like it runs slower. Am I crazy? Or is that actually running slower? What? How can that be slower? Like, significantly slower. Like, significantly slower. Yeah, that was running way slower, dude. What? Huh? What? I don't understand. Okay, so that's basically an easy first optimization. And maybe we throw this in there too, and that's even more optimal. I have no idea. Because we're afraid of taking the square root is, I think, basically what I'm thinking. Because square roots are too slow. It doesn't seem terribly more efficient, if I'm honest. Huh. And then I replace this with math dot square root. Because I've already got dx and dy, and I don't need this anymore either. Does that give me some optimization? I'm starting to think that it's going to be hard to get much optimization at all when kind of everything is colliding with everything at the same time. And I've already done the I already did the size based optimization as well. Oh, and when everything's all clumped together, like when I initially spawn all the arrows, it's gonna have a worse frame rate, right? But as everything spreads out, the frame rate will get better. Like, well, for two reasons: we're deleting arrows, and also because things are spreading out more. So these guys don't have to care about those guys, for example. So I'm pretty sure that the smaller I make the minimum distance, the better. So adding this 20 onto it does significantly decrease the performance, I think. Well, let me throw in a counter. So we're going to be double counting, but that's fine. Where do I draw my FPS? Yeah, let me actually put it down there with everything else. Okay, this is drawing it to the left of center. Let me draw mine to the right of center. 400. Let's do like 520. Same approximate position though. Okay. we're doing around 800 collisions per frame. If I add a bunch of arrows, holy crap. Oh my god, just the number of collisions shoots through the roof. Okay. So that makes the frame dropping thing a little bit less concerning, actually. Because you know, when I add arrows and I'm like, wow, we're actually really close to being like at the edge of the machine's capabilities. We're kind of not, because we could do like 10x the number of collisions. 3x, 4x, 5x, 6x. We can get up to 10x the number of collisions and still keep a consistent frame rate. So maybe it's not that crazy. But I'm sure if I got rid of this plus 20 and allowed things to be closer together. Yeah, that reduced the number of collisions from like around 1,000 to it seems like it's stabilizing around. It seems like it cut it in half, basically. Is there anything wrong with keeping it lower like this? I don't think so. I think it's kind of pretty good. Actually, pretty good. Okay. Alright, feeling slightly optimistic. Because performance was like the primary concern. For sure. Alright, okay. Okay. I guess that's kind of done now. It took a little bit longer than I was expecting. Because I had that freaking bug for so long. What was that bug again? I kind of forget now what the bug was. Oh, it was, right. It worked when I was doing it with, like the linear way somehow. But it doesn't work in the non-linear way. Yeah. It was, not making the magnitude dependent on the distance and instead just on the dx and dy, because you could have two arrows on like the same dx, but or the same dy, but totally separated from each other on the dx, and there would still like be a force there, which it was not great. Okay. Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of done now. Can I bring these arrows back in real quick? Just to see. Because I did increase the magnitude a bit. Watching those guys get pushed along was kind of funny. Yeah, this guy's pushing these guys, I think. And it's getting slowed down by them. Huh. Maybe I... 30 max size distance. I think I decrease that. I think I make this like 20. These guys are kind of pushing each other, I think. I just really want to try to preserve the parallax effect. Yeah, these guys might... No, they're not really even pushing each other at all. Which is good. That's good. That's good. That's good. That is good. Yeah. I do wonder, it seems like the guys down below have have like stronger forces applying to them relative to their size. doesn't seem bad. What's going on here? I guess this guy's pushing them. Hmm. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. And I think most of these problems will go away, especially if I reduce the number of arrows on screen. I'm not going to have this many arrows on screen in the final thing anyways. Let's try it with music now. Let's say we want 150. I'm basically gonna do this test and then I think I'm gonna call it a day. Oh yeah, I like the fade effect, definitely. Oh, that was pretty cool. That was definitely pretty cool. See, the number of collisions went down like massively. Went down massively. Uh, Man, I can't believe it took the whole stream just to get that working, but oh well. What can you do? What can you do? That is, I would say, done, honestly. I would say it is done. Once again, I'm in a position where I don't think this is gonna be a whole stream, but I was wrong about that last time, so who knows? uh, my goal would be to, like, obviously this is gonna be the background for my rhythm game, but simultaneously I'd also like that to be the background for my stream intro, because it's a heck of a lot better than nothing. And also, if I'm going to be streaming my rhythm game, development of my rhythm game, it just makes sense to have a rhythm game themed background as well. So, like, why not? But in order to make that happen, the why not is, if I'm going to be playing music on stream, ideally I want to have an attribution for the author of the music. That's kind of why I have on the starting screen the, you know, song title by artist name thing going on there. Uh, Unfortunately, I haven't been using that for when I'm doing development, when I'm playing music. But I can change that. Yeah, so I guess there's gonna be some other changes I need to make too, though, to like. Yeah, this is probably gonna involve like a bunch of UI stuff. Um, and maybe I can simultaneously finalize the appearance of the animation. And when I say finalize the appearance, I mean things like, you know, setting the line width and the hue offset and all that stuff, kind of setting that in stone. I can still leave the options menu in there. It's just I want it to default to the one that would look good, basically. Yeah, I can get rid of this. As fun as that is, we're not really getting 7,000 errors on screen anymore because we have physics now. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That is about it, though. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I will hopefully see you all tomorrow. And farewell.